Chismosas, I have heard your pleas, I've seen your tags, and I've read your DMs, and we're gonna talk about the interview that Cazzu just did about Ángel Aguilar and Cristian Nodal, and you're not gonna wanna miss this. Now, if you guys have been following me for a while, then you probably already know how this goes. I'm gonna go ahead and play this clip, I'm gonna go ahead and translate it after, and then we're gonna go ahead and talk about my opinion. So, without further ado, let's get into the clip.
No tenía conocimiento de que ellos tenían una relación previa a anunciarla. A mí, cuando me dejaron por un motivo distinto. Existió la pregunta, ¿hay alguien más? La respuesta fue no. Yo me enteré de la relación de ellos de la misma forma que se enteró todo el mundo, a través de los mismos medios, que fue a través de redes y cosas. Me sorprendí, obviamente, porque yo a ella la conocía y había compartido algunas veces. Entonces, primero pensé que no era, resultó que sí.
Claro, te parecía tan lejano a la realidad y tan inesperado que dijiste esto. No, es una noticia real, es una fake news inverosímil.
Sí, me fue un poco inverosímil, después resultó que sí. Bueno, fue una gran sorpresa, obviamente. No hice nada al respecto porque nunca sentí que había... Desde el momento en el que alguien no quiere seguir en una relación con alguien, es como no hay nada que hacer. O sea, yo no le voy a pedir a nadie que se quede en mi vida, que no quiere formar parte de mi vida. Yo simplemente lo acepté. Pero bueno, después públicamente se tornó como... Fueron muchos disparos, pasaron muchas cosas. Fue avanzando y yo realmente pensé que habíamos finalizado este tema. Siento de alguna manera que lo que estoy diciendo ahora es como que... Me siento como que me obligaron a hacerlo, ¿sabes? Porque para mí este es un tema tan privado, tan sensible, tan doloroso, que me hubiese gustado nunca tener que decir nada. Pero se está poniendo en duda mi integridad como persona. Yo no sería jamás capaz de formar parte de un plan tan retorcido como el que se sugiere. Y citando lo que se dijo también, se habló de mis sentimientos en boca de alguien que no me conoce y que no sabe cómo yo lo pasé. Se dijo que no se rompió un corazón y que aquí nadie sufrió. Yo sufrí muchísimo y se rompió muchísimo más que un corazón. Se rompieron muchos corazones, se rompió mucho, fue un proceso muy doloroso y me parece que yo me manejé con muchísimo respeto por todos, sobre todo porque tengo una hija que tiene un papá que va a ser siempre su papá, pero siento que también un ejemplo para mi hija es cuando las cosas transgreden una línea y un límite, enseñarle que también hay que poner límites cuando te obligan a hacerlo.
Now, there's a lot to unpack here. Now, she starts everything off by saying that she had no idea that Ángel Aguilar and Cristian Nodal were together until they announced it. And she says that when Nodal broke up with her, it was for a completely different reason. And even in that moment when he broke up with her, she had the question, is there someone else? But he said point blank, no, there isn't. Okay, liar. So then she goes on to say, so yeah, I obviously didn't know anything about that relationship before then, and I was actually only made aware of this through social media. And she says at first she didn't know if it was true because, there's always rumors that are flying around. And she didn't really believe it because she had shared moments with Ángel Aguilar, so it was really shocking. But obviously, it all turned out to be true. Then she says, and obviously when she found out, she didn't do anything about it because when somebody doesn't want to be with you, you're not trying to force them to be in a relationship they don't want to be in. I'm not going to ask somebody to stay in a relationship when they no longer want to form a family with me. So I just simply accepted it. But then things were said, a lot of things happened, and I had already thought that this whole topic was done. And that's why I feel like I was forced to do this interview because of that. Because I would have rather not have even talked about it because it's such a painful topic. It's so sensitive and it's very private. So realistically, I would have loved to never have had to broach this topic publicly. But then my integrity was put into question because I would have never been a part of something that was so twisted like that little love triangle. And then she doesn't mention Ángel Aguilar specifically, but we all know that Ángela did this interview where she was saying like, we're all adults, there were no broken hearts, everything was fine. Remember that interview? Well, she was like, well, then that person came out and did this interview talking about how I felt, how my feelings weren't hurt, how I wasn't heartbroken, and putting words in my mouth when she doesn't even know me. She doesn't know what I went through. And then she says that Ángela said in her interview that nobody suffered. And she's like, I suffered a lot. And I think despite all of that and them coming out and saying all these things, I really managed myself with a lot of respect. And I did that first and foremost because that is her father and it will always be her father. But at this point, I feel like this is a lesson that I have to put out there for my daughter so she knows in the future, if anything like this happens, that she knows where to put her boundaries and set her limits. And that's what I'm doing right now. Then she ends this clip by essentially saying that she felt obligated to do this, that she spent 5 months in silence, not doing anything, and she tried to handle everything with privacy and respect. But basically, they're the ones that forced her hand, and she was not gonna say anything until they came out and just started blabbing their little mouth. And by they, I mean Angela Aguilar. Now, I can't tell you how happy I am that Cazzu finally came out and spoke her piece, because I feel like, yes, you could be classy, you can do this, you can do that, and you can just, try to manage your own piece. But at some point, people are poking and prodding at you, and you need to say, no, that's it. We need to fix this right now. And it's one thing if Nodal was out here saying XYZ, but Angela Aguilar, the mistress, coming out and saying things, she's lucky that Cazzu didn't go and rip her to the shreds, which I would have loved. But anyways, chismosas, I'm very curious to know what you guys thought about this, and the translation to Cristian Nodal's response to this is coming right after this. So don't forget to like and follow for more gossip, chisme, and all things tea.